Good morning, everybody. Matt Moda here to give you my favorite NBA player prop picks for today. We're talking Monday, December 2nd. The splash zone is back in your life. I have 3 NBA player prop picks that I locked in for today, including one juicy ladder climb that we have as well. Of course, before we can get into today's picks, we have to do a recap. So I did not have a video over the past couple days. I still have been sending plays out to both my Dub Club and to my Twitter. And it's been a pretty good couple days on the entire season. We're still working our way back into the green. We're down a little bit over a unit on the year, which that doesn't sound great in and of itself. But if you think about how bad things were about a month ago, I'm glad that we've been able to get ourselves close to breaking even. We were down over 12 units at our worst point of the season. That was about a month ago. So we've been up about 10 units over the past month. Still working our way back to actually being able to say we made some money this year. But I'm confident that after tonight, we will be there. So if you're new to my channel, congratulations, you missed the worst part of the season. I would appreciate it if you could click that subscribe button. And then for this specific video, if you could comment, that stuff helps me out a ton. And let's get into these plays. So play number 1 is actually going to be our ladder play as well. It's a Dennis Schroder assist ladder. I'm taking him over 7.5 assists. Best offered at -105 odds at flip for a full unit McSlam on that bad boy. And then I'm putting a half unit on him to get to 10 plus assists, which you can get at +270 odds at flip. This is in the Nets versus Bulls game. I can't remember if I mentioned that part or not. The reason why I emphasize that is because you guys know the drill here. It's a system play. System play, taking your point guard assist props against the Bulls. On the entire season, the Bulls have allowed the most assists per game to point guards. Over the last 30 days, the Bulls have allowed the most assists per game to point guards. The Bulls are just a perfect combination of bad defense and fast pace. Over the last 10 games, the Bulls have the worst defensive net rating in the entire NBA. And in that same stretch, they play at the 3rd fastest pace as well. Again, it's just a beautiful combination that leads to them allowing a ton of stat accumulation in general. And their defensive style specifically allows point guards to record a ton of assists against them. As mentioned earlier, on the entire season and over the last 30 days, the Bulls are allowing the most assists per game to point guards. Now, looking at Dennis Schroder, his hit rate over the last 5 games, it's not going to wow you. He's definitely not diming people up as much now as he was at the beginning of the year, but it's not like he's been terrible, right? You can't just look at the hit rate and then make any sweeping conclusions off of that. Yes, he's only gotten over 7.5 assists twice in his last 10 games. If you look at his last 5, 3 separate times in the last 4 games has he reached exactly 7 assists. So he's come close multiple times. I mean, one jump shot goes different. He's hitting the over. Of course, one shot goes different. He only has 6 assists, but you can just see if he's hitting 7 assists in 3 of the last 4 games, that means he's getting pretty close, and it just hasn't been a terrible run for him from an assist perspective. And as I mentioned, the reason we are on this play is because the Bulls are about as dream of a matchup as you can possibly think of. These 2 teams played earlier this year, and yes, this is one of the games. Well, this is actually not one of the last 4, but in that game, Schroder went under this number. He only had 7 assists. He had 14 potential assists in that game. A 50% conversion rate is below average. Generally, the players are closer to 60%, but you can at least count on between 55 and 60%. So if he gets another 14 potential assists in this one, I'll be very confident he'll get us to at least 8 assists. It'd have to be a pretty high conversion rate to get us to the 10 plus number. But in that game, Ben Simmons played. Ben Simmons played basketball in that game. Schroder averages 3.5 more assists per 36 minutes when Ben Simmons is off the floor. And with this being the second half of a back-to-back, Simmons played yesterday. The expectation is that he will not play today. Simmons will not. He hasn't played on back-to-backs all year. The coach said he's not going to play on back-to-backs. If that changes, this would be the first time that would change, even if Ben Simmons does play. We've already seen that Dennis Schroder can get 14 potential assists against this Bulls team. So I'd be much happier if Simmons didn't play, but I still think that Schroder can hit even the ladder play for us if Simmons does play. Like 5 games ago against the Charlotte Hornets, Schroder had 12 assists in that game, and Ben Simmons played. So I love this play on Schroder. I love the mainline play, and if you want to get juicy, climb the ladder with me as well. That's play number 1. Play number 2, Pelicans versus Hawks game. Trae Young, 12 plus assists plus 105 odds at FanDuel. 105 odds for someone to get the 12 assists might seem a little bit crazy. When you dig into the play and the matchup and the player, it makes complete sense. Now, the Pelicans are not quite the Bulls, because nobody is quite the Bulls. But the Pelicans are the next closest thing over the last 30 days. Again, the Bulls have allowed the most assists per game to point guards. Guess who's in second place? That would be the New Orleans Pelicans, who have allowed the second most assists per game to point guards over the last 30 days. Bulls number 1, Pelicans number 2. Just go through the game log of what point guards have done against the Pelicans, and all that stuff starts to make sense. This is all per props.cash. They've tracked 11 point guard assist props against the Pelicans since November 23rd. 10 of those 11 point guards have gone over their assist prop against the Pelicans. The only one that missed was Ja Morant, who had 7 assists on an over-under of 7.5, so a brutal hook, and he only played in 29 minutes in that game. And in that same game, Marcus Smart had 6 assists. His over-under was 2.5. He's also listed as a point guard. So Marcus Smart has 1 fewer assist that goes to Ja Morant. Both those point guards are cashing. Yesterday, the Knicks played the Pelicans. All 3 of the point guards on the Knicks hit their assist prop over. That includes Jalen Brunson, who had 9 assists. His over-under was 7.5. And he did that in 26 minutes of playing time. The Pelicans have been a train wreck. A lot of that has to do with the fact that their whole team is hurt, but that doesn't really matter because it's still going to be the case tonight. Even if DeJounte Murray, whoever plays, I don't care. This is just a perfect matchup for Trae Young, who's been a really, really good passer this season. He did go under this number in the last 2 games, but you got to look further than that. Prior to that, he had hit in 3 straight, and he had hit in 4 of 5 as well. And in all 4 of those games he went over, he had 13 or more assists. And some of the assist numbers that he racks up are just crazy. 3 games ago, 22 assists. A couple games before that, 19 assists. He had 16 in another game. On the season, Trae Young averages the most assists per game in the NBA with 12.1. He averages the most potential assists per game at 20.9. And in the last 10 games, he's only gotten better, averaging 12.7 assists in the last 10 games and 21.3 potential assists. He's going to get us to 12 assists tonight. He could possibly get us to 16. Hopefully, we don't ladder the wrong player. But either way, I'm very confident in this Trae Young play. That's play number 2. Last up, our third and final pick of the video, Lakers versus T-Wolves. Rudy Gobert double-double, plus 120 odds at bet365. So the last play of the evening, we're essentially backing Gobert to get to at least 10 plus points and 10 plus rebounds. And that's actually how I built out the bet slip on Bet365. If you look at Bet365, they're giving you plus 115 odds on him to record a double-double, but they're getting you plus 120 odds on him to score 10 plus points and get 10 plus rebounds in an SGP plus. So obviously it makes way more sense to just take the better odds at plus 120. Of course, yeah, that does eliminate the possibility that Gobert gets a double-double on 10 plus assists. But considering Rudy Gobert has never had more than 8 assists in his career, he hasn't even gotten to 6 assists once in the last 2 seasons. I'll take my chances that it comes from points and rebounds, and I'll take it that way and get a little bit of a better price. From a matchup perspective, the Lakers are a much better matchup specifically for Rudy Gobert rebounds, but his over-under is 11.5. The over is priced at minus odds, so there's much better value on him to record a double-double. Of course, it's more risky. He's got to do the points part as well. But even though it's not as good of a matchup, it's still a good matchup overall for his points prop. So I'm cool with the added risk of the double-double. On the entire season, the Lakers are allowing the 2nd most rebounds per game to centers. So very good matchup for rebounds. And the 10th most points per game to centers. So not as good for points, still top 10. But you look at players with a similar play type to Rudy Gobert. This is per Props Madness. 4 centers with Gobert's scoring profile have played the Lakers this season. Not only have all 4 of them scored at least 10 points, all 4 of them actually went over their point prop as well. Now, one of them was Jalen Duren. His over-under was 10.5. He scored 11. Still went over 10 points, still went over his point prop. That also includes Rudy Gobert, who scored 13 points against the Lakers earlier this season. And you look at the play types in terms of where Rudy Gobert scores and how that lines up to where the Lakers defense is weak. It confirms that it's not the best matchup in the world. Also confirms it's nothing to be scared of. Rudy Gobert scores the majority of his points via cuts, and NBA.com doesn't give us defensive data off of cuts. We have no idea how the Lakers are good or how they perform against cuts. Considering players with a similar play type to Gobert have consistently hit their prop against the Lakers, one would presume that they're below average defense guarding cuts. I just can't say that for sure. But then after that, putbacks, below average putbacks. Next up is free throw line. Lakers generally are actually pretty good at fouling. But below that is pick and roll roll man, which they're weak at. And also the last one is transition, which the Lakers are weak at as well. So one, I don't know. One bad matchup, three good matchups. Kind of tells you the story of how this is a good matchup for Gobert, but not a perfect matchup from his points perspective. But rebounds, it's phenomenal, right? These two teams played earlier this year. Rudy Gobert had 14 rebounds. More importantly, he had 23 rebound chances. And on the season, again, mentioned earlier, the Lakers allow the second most rebounds per game to centers. And you just look at this matchup, Rudy Gobert versus Lakers. He's recorded a double-double in 8 straight games against the Lakers. That includes one this year. That includes, obviously, all 3 games last year. He's averaging like 24 rebound chances per game against the Lakers, and he's never not scored double digits in the last 8 games against them. So very confident Rudy Gobert gets to 10 rebounds and 10 assists, essentially cashing out our play on him recording a double-double. And that's all we got. 3 bangers plus 1 ladder play for you guys to lock in. Remember to like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And real quick, the last thing I'll mention at the end of the video is that I do have a dub club where I send all my plays out for $5 a month. Get some sent directly to your phone via text, email, or Telegram. It's via dub club, which if you're unfamiliar, dub club is just a service you can sign up for to have plays sent to you from people like me. It gives you the same exact plays that I give out on YouTube and on Twitter for free. So people ask me, do you get any extra picks? No, the answer is no, you don't. You just get them sent to you early. So like if you're watching this YouTube video and the odds are different, unfortunately, I can't help the odds changing over the course of the day. That's why I have the Dub Club, so you're able to lock in the bets at the exact price that I locked them in at. I include the screenshot of the bet slip and all that stuff to show you that this is what I'm actually betting. So if you're interested in that, link is in the description of the video as well as the pinned comment. If you're not interested in that, no problem. You can still get everything for free on YouTube and on Twitter. And that's all we got. I appreciate everybody for watching, and have a good one.